Hi, welcome to Byte Size Learning with Arts Access North Carolina. Today we are joined by dance educator TJ Robinson for an interview style video, something a little bit different than our previous ones. So thank you so much, TJ, for joining us today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I am a African American male. My pronouns are him. I am 31 years old. I am married of 2.5 years to Tamara Robinson. I currently am based in Charlotte, North Carolina. I am a massage therapist, professional dancer, and educator. Um, and I am super excited to share my experiences and my wisdom and journey with you all today. Another tidbit: I'm sitting here in my staff office at work. I have black pants on, a navy blue, I think bluish shirt, white necklace. I mean, a necklace on with a um, angel emblem. And two earrings in my ear and an Apple Watch on my left hand. I did have shades on, but I took them off. And I have an athletic build, and I'm about 5'5". And yeah, so that's me.
Awesome. Well, our first question is, what do you think makes you unique? What makes you who you are?
Well, what makes me unique is that I am an individual who is very personable. I am an individual who prides himself on connection and and empathy and respect. And in that, I like to have a gentle leadership style in anything I do. I want people to feel welcomed. I want people to feel safe and comfortable in whatever environment I'm in and whatever environment I create. I want every individual to come into that environment feeling that they feel heard, they feel valued, and they feel understood in every way. And um, and with that, I believe that my true uniqueness is that I have this beautiful, outgoing, energetic, and motivating personality that radiates a room that provokes action um, into those that I meet, that provokes curiosity, and that will helps to almost as a catalyst to help jumpstart people's creative juices and journeys towards their own endeavors. I am a person that's built uh, like for tough in a way that I've gone through many of experiences in my life, and I believe that I have a very introspective and very unique perspective in how I approach the world and how I approach dance as an educator and an artist, and also how I approach athletics and relationships, the whole gamut. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's what
awesome.
makes me unique. Mhm.
Do you want to tell us a bit about how you got into dance and when you started?
Yeah, so I began my dance journey about 19 years ago. When I first started to attend the Governor Moorhead School for the Blind in 2004. I got into dance as an elective. And I remember beforehand growing up doing dance like as a just messing around. Uh, I remember my childhood friends of mine, they had a birthday party and I went into the talent show and I could remember I danced to Michael Jackson. I believe it was Bad. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I just began to move. And this is when I could see a little better than I do now. And I just began to move, and I didn't win or anything, but I just was having fun and whatnot and doing it. And then when I was 11, I was watching You Got Served, and I tried to mimic the dance moves that I saw on that movie because I was really curious. So then when I started in 2004 at Governor Moorhead, around 2005, 2006, we had a new theater arts dance course teacher named Rebecca Rahman. She was able to secure scholarships at a local dance studio there. And my first entry into ballet happened then, and my first entry into tap and to dance pretty much took off. And then from the time I was 12 to 18, I danced ballet, modern, tap, hip hop, and those are just to name a few. And as I began that journey, it was a very exciting journey, but one of growth where I could express myself in a way where words always weren't there, but it was just the feeling and the emotions behind it and the camaraderie of being around others who were like-minded and wanted to express themselves through movement. And once I graduated in 2011, I had a hiatus for a while for about 5 years. And in this time, I had vision decrease because I was born with RP, or retinopathy of prematurity, where my retinas were underdeveloped. And so when I went to UC Charlotte, I could only see 2900 or whatever that acuity is. And what that equates to is me seeing lights, shadows, and motion in my right eye. So I went to my advisor my sophomore year of college at UNCC. When I first got on campus, she's like, "Hey, you need to pick a minor. You have all these credits already. You transferred in." And so I was like, "Okay, cool." So I decided to dance. I decided, let's try dance. So I remember going into a vintage jazz class for the first time. And the professor's name was Karen Hubbard, and she was a scholar, beautiful African American woman, and it was just beautiful how she didn't turn me away. She just said, how can we do it? And so we were able to make the accommodations, and one thing led to a next, and I ended up establishing myself in the dance program at UNC Charlotte alongside of my exercise science degree, just dancing and really getting back into my body and really getting back into the expression and the fullness of dance at in my early 20s. So yeah.
Wow, that's really amazing. That's awesome. Um, would you say that your hardships through life had fueled your success as a dance artist and as a person?
Yes, I will say my hardships have fueled my creative juices and my mindset as a dancer, just because um, whether it was me losing my father at an early age at 14, or going through vision losses in my early 20s at times, or once I graduated, uh, losing my first service dog because he was sick and I had to return him back in 8 months of having him, and then also being homeless in that time, it taught me resiliency. It taught me adaptability, and it taught me to be able to think quickly on my feet. And it also taught me about family. It taught me about what it truly means to have family, that family doesn't always have to be your blood to be considered family, but also having those near and dear to your heart in trying times and times of hardship can um, bring such richness to your overall experience as a human being. And as my um, journey has progressed, I have been able to utilize those memories, those emotions, those traumas from those past hardships to bring creative uh, moments into fruition. That those hardships that were just memories or trauma, they became reality in how I created work, how I understood the world around me, and how I understood dance as a collective, and dance as a separate entity of just working with dance professionals, working with dance artists, working with institutions, and vice versa. So it's helped to give me a wide um, panoramic shot of what dance can be, because when you come into dance, you never know what to expect and you never have a finished product. And you can go in thinking one way and it not be what it will look like at the end. And what you go in with, you may scrap it and then change it completely, and that's okay. And so that idea of just being adaptable to change and not sticking to the status quo of something, that's sometimes life. You have to be willing to be adaptable, be willing to commit even when the risk of commitment may lead to failure. But I heard that if you plan to fail, you can't fail. But that's an anomaly, because you can still fail, but failure is a means to success. Because when you have shortcomings in life, we oftentimes utilize those hard times as means of bringing us closer to our individual goals and desires, to set up our dream scenarios that we want to have. So yes, that's pretty much where I'm at and how the hardships kind of shape that side of it all.
Yeah, for sure. Would you say that you have a reason why you dance?
When I say I have a reason why I dance, I think the biggest reason why I dance is because I understand my why. I heard this once in a training I was in, and one of the staff said, when you understand your why, you understand your purpose. And that was so true. And my why, or that purpose for dance, is because I have the capabilities through my gentle leadership style, through my unique personality, to express myself and share a narrative story through my dance, in a way where I can empathize and connect with those who are blind and disabled like myself, or the quote unquote able bodied person or person without a disability who may not think they can connect with me. I have the ability to connect through my expression of movement and my way of storytelling and my way of using words to express that through the spoken word and through the unspoken word of just movement. And so the why comes from that at any moment of time, no matter the circumstance or situation, dance is always a means for healing, for expression, for storytelling, for creativity. And dance for me is a way of connection with the outside world, a safe haven almost, that I can come in and bring whatever hardships, whatever tough times I'm dealing with, I can bring it into the space and dump it all there. I can work with my dance colleagues and mentors to redefine and reshape how everyone in the sighted community or the disabled community relates to one another. I feel like that why for me is multifaceted, in that I don't have one way that I think about it, but what I will say is that the multifaceted or multi-layered way of seeing it is that my why is that I have fun, it challenges me, to be me, the authentic, real, and true me, without overshadowing who I used to be or who I will be in my future. It allows me to, in that moment, in every day, to meet and confront myself for that particular moment, on that particular stage, and in that particular situation or whatever meets me. Dance meets me where I'm at, and I meet it where it's at in the moment.
Yeah, I really like that. When you understand your why, you understand your purpose. That's really great. Um, how do you define the courage of beauty, the courage of hardship, and the courage of success?
Oh wow, yeah, I love that. That's mostly faceted as well, but here's the simplicity of it: that the courage of beauty is that we find the courage or the bravery or the boldness to accept who we are at our core, and looking that our at our core, our heart center is colorful emotions that God has made and created in such a way where we have the capability as people, as human beings, to share in a collective moment of love, respect, kindness, and generosity. That the courage of beauty says, I'm no better than you or the other person standing beside me, but we all are here on this earth, no matter for what period or how long. We're all put on this earth to leave a legacy, to have an impact, to create change, and to create memories for all of ourselves. But it's looking back at the trials and tribulations and find the beauty in the hardship, find the beauty in those moments where it wasn't so great, when you were in the mud, when you were training or you were dancing or you were had that great idea and it didn't go well. Can you find beauty in that momentary shortcoming? That's the beauty of courage, or the courage of beauty, as I say. It's being able to find the beauty not within yourself or the beauty within others, it's the beauty in the collective, the whole. That if I see the beauty in your heart and you see the beauty in my heart, how can two well-meaning individuals or people come together to create change and greater insight, and greater perspective and greater conversations around disability, empathy, um, dance, art, health, and wellness, and the whole gamut. Secondly, what is the courage of hardships and trials? The courage of hardships and trials is that, can you have the bravery, the boldness to accept your trials, your tribulations in a way where you meet them and you confront those demons and you confront those moments where you weren't at your best, or life threw you curveballs and you may not have knocked it out the park, but you struck out and you fell at your lowest. Where are you in that moment? Are you completely spiraling downward? Or in my case, me being very spiritual, being a believer in God, am I clinging to something greater than myself that I believe and I know in my spirit that will bring me to greater heights through this trial, through the tribulation? And once you understand the courage of trials and tribulations, that they are a means to something greater and they're not a means to an end, you can find peace. You can find your truth, your authenticity in the mud, in the uncomfortable moments of life where life is not always kind. And lastly, how do I define the courage of success? The courage of success is to be able to stand on a mountaintop and, like Denzel Washington says, each one teach one. And that's bringing one up when you are brought up, when you have your successes. Who are you reaching back and pulling up with you to let them stand on the same platform that you're standing up on? And in who are you showing gratitude to when you have those moments of success that um, emotions can't define? And when you look at the courage of success, is the success a means to something greater that will have a lasting impact, not only on yourself or generationally in your family, but on those around you? And lastly, will success and can success redefine how you see yourself and what you're going after? Because when you go get it, when you just get up in the morning and say, I want this and I am worthy of whatever you say, worthy of love, worthy of respect, worthy of a great job, worthy of marriage, whatever it may be, it's all about that manifested vision that leads you to the courage of success. When you have the manifested vision, when you have a clear vision of where you want to go and how you want to get there, then you find yourself in a really good situation. So, yeah, there you go. That's the courage of beauty, the courage of trials and tribulations, and the courage of success. That's how I define it.
That's amazing. Do you want to tell us a bit about what sensory beyond sight is?
Yes. And that's funny you asked what sensory beyond sight is, because it's took many different iterations. When I first developed this back in 2017, it was a service project. After I proposed it, I was initially wanting to blindfold individuals to help them step away from comparisons, insecurities, and perfectionistic mindsets that are sometimes, most of the time, in dance. And also, I wanted the dancers to foster a deeper understanding of body awareness in time and space, while coming to deeper understandings of how they can move more expansively, more broadly, outside of the traditional lens in how they moved, outside of the ballet, outside of the modern. How could they move more organically? And that's where it was. But this was not tailor made just for dancers. This was for anyone who wanted to come, all skill levels, all ages. But as I recently discovered, um, while I was in California about a month or so ago, I was with Access Dance at a residency there. I redefined what Sensory Beyond Sight looked like and who I was. Sensory Beyond Sight is not a product; it's a process. And as a process, Sensory Beyond Sight looks at the transformation process of the mover or dancers involved. It's how they grew in understanding their own bodies when their sight was eliminated through the use of blindfolds. Could they utilize the other sensoriums or senses of the body to help them move more expansively, more broadly, more creatively, and find those moments of curiosity that they didn't have with just the use of their sight? Um, Additionally, Sensory Beyond Sight also was developed as a means of helping individuals rediscover and tap into how the other sensoriums of the body can help shape their individual expressions, their individual modes of being in society, being in the world. It didn't have to be just academic or dance technique, or it could just be how can you be more aware consciously of the blind spots in your own life that you have, like a blind spot in a car. So for me, I went to Duke briefly back in 2020 to 2021, and I was tasked with being in this dance hall that I had never been in before called the Arc, that had this big old fan in the ceiling, and I really liked it. It was crazy, but I was tasked with trying to figure out and orient myself to this space where I'd never been before, right? And so my blind spots as a person who is visually impaired, near blind, is that I did not understand my tactile sensation of how my feet felt on the ground normally. I didn't feel the environment around me perceptually to understand where things were all the time. I didn't trust in it. I wanted to trust in maybe some shadows I might have saw or some movement I might have saw. But then once I started to realize that I needed to use the whole sensoriums, my touch, my smell, my hearing, it gave me a more broader perspective of how I can utilize this idea of awareness. So to go back, my workshop is just one of that. It's the transformation of how dancers and also myself, how can we understand movement more expansively? How can we um, take this newfound awareness and bring it in back into their individual experiences and give it to someone else and share it across a spectrum. So that's Sense Beyond Sight in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's great. What would you say is the driving force for sensory beyond sight? And what do you hope that participants leave that experience with?
I think the driving force to sensory beyond sight is one of two things. One is that I have been on a journey over the last maybe 7 years plus of trying to relate as an artist who loves expression and loves exploration and loves movement. How can I connect with those who are different from myself? And how can they connect back to me? So I had a yearning inside myself to find a common ground where myself along with the participants could be at a equal playing field, that we could come to the table, come to this experience, and have a collective experience where we find beauty, where we find love, where we find new ways of thought and new ways of moving that maybe I haven't even thought about, but my peers or the participants who are involved may share with me. Secondly, the driving force has all to do with how can I reach the most people with this process so that I can share and educate everyone on these methodologies and philosophies that will help shape and mold the culture of dance and disability, that will continue to showcase the transformation of dance and what it could be in its future. Um, and then lastly, what I glean to want the dancers to take away is that movement is more than just a visual. Movement is feeling, and feeling is movement. And that when you can understand that simple concept of feeling is movement and movement is feeling, your explorations, your expression, your creativity, your curiosity surrounding dance, and how you want to present and showcase will be transformational, and it will help the next individual transform those that they meet. And it'll be a revolving escalator or revolving door of new curiosities, new boundaries reached. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I hope to be able to experience Sensory Beyond Sight one of these days.
Mhm.
What dance projects are you currently working on? Anything new?
So yeah, so I recently, back in, just to give you some content, back in 2021, I began a partnership working with SDW, or Chalet Dance Works. Chalet is the the founder of Chalet Dance Works. Um, um, and she got inspired to do, years ago, got inspired to do work with mixed abilities. And she and I, through a mutual friend, which her name is Allison Zinco, and she was the art teacher at Go to Moyer for a while. We got in touch, and Allison said, "Hey, do you? I know a woman named Chalet, and she uh, is really cool, and I think you guys would really hit it off. She's doing this dance thing with Access, and because she had got commissioned by them back in 2019, and I accepted the kind of offer, and we got to talking, and I one day I went to a performance back at UNC Charlotte where I didn't need a um, mentor to describe to me what happened, because there was so much textured, layered of sounds, of dialogue, of movement, and the light to help me put together my own understanding of what was happening. And I called her and said, "Hey, Charlie, this happened, that happened, and the third," and then we were just hooked. And she and I became this uh, duet of just um, commitment to want to bring awareness and empathy and understanding to the blind and visually impaired community. So we did Sensory Beyond Sight and Vision last year, heading off ADF's, I believe it was the 89th season, as a world premiere opening last year in June. And now we are taking that and extending that to envision the next chapter, which we're kind of in the research stage of it, taking concepts of it and seeing how we can dive deeper, expand on some other sections, and continuing the efforts of expanding the understanding and raising the empathy and raising the bar of how people understand persons with disabilities, particularly blindness, and even uh, wheelchair users, sign language, the whole gamut. And so right now we're currently working on that for right now this year. Myself, I am working on just expanding Sensory Beyond Sight, making it more than what it has been. Um, in conjunction with Chalet Dance Works, we are also creating a movement mentor teacher training program that we can train dance mentors who are cited to in the Raleigh Durham area to um, assist other blind and visually impaired persons in dance classes around the Triangle. So that is something that I, in conjunction with Chalet and the company, working on developing with content and things. So that's something we're been going to continue to work on throughout the rest of this year and on to next year. Um, but personally, I am just working on moving and staying active in how I look at my own dance practice as a mover and um, in my day to day. So yeah, that's where I'm at currently. That's what I have going on.
Great. That's all really exciting. I look forward to seeing all of that come together, and I'm really excited about Envision. But yeah, I wanted to say thank you for joining us today. It was really a pleasure to talk to you and get to know you more and hear about all of the great work you've been doing.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I just want to give a thanks to everyone who's helped me get to this moment in my time in my life, and just want to thank everyone, even Access. I want to thank SCW Charlotte Dance Works. I want to thank the Governor Moorhead School. I just want to thank UNC Charlotte Dance. I want to just thank the Martin Scholars Foundation scholarship program, and I want to thank Access Dance, and I just want to thank all my lovely friends and family, and ultimately, number one, my beautiful wife Tamara. I just want to thank all of you for helping me to get to this moment, this platform to be able to express myself in such a dynamic way. And thank you for the time you've allowed me to share.
Absolutely.